Like, I stopped getting dressed. I stopped getting up. I stopped leaving the house. I stopped doing my hair. I even stopped. It would be some days where I wouldn't even shower and I wouldn't even brush my teeth. Like, I would just sit in the house depressed, literally. Like, what's going on, guys? It's Tamisha. I'm back with another video. I know it is long overdue for me to put out this video. I have been trying to honor my commitment of being vulnerable and consistent, but simultaneously of me trying to get back into just doing YouTube, I have been doing real life things, and those real life things have required real life time. But it's been 6 days since I have posted. I think by the time y'all see this, it's gonna be 7. But nonetheless, I am here now. I'm not even really here to waste y'all time. I'm not even really here to lollygag or beat around the bush. As you can see by the title, I'm sure that is why you are here. What happened in Atlanta? The last thing y'all knew was I said I was moving to Atlanta. Then I was in Atlanta, officially moved. And I think y'all saw maybe like 1 or 2 videos maximum of me actually being there. I disappeared, went MIA. Let me actually check. Hold on. Yeah, y'all saw my move. Miami. I got stranded. Moved to Atlanta, visited New York, backstage with Key Glock. And then after that, it was like a while after that, and I popped up and was like, why am I around bad intentions? Lord, y'all know how we deal with stuff and then you try to block it out because you honestly don't want to relive it. That's that for me. Atlanta was like, honestly, not for me. I'm trying to do this video for the sake of y'all, but to be honest, I honestly, truly do not want to relive Atlanta. That's why I left. I was literally only there for 6 months. It seemed like so much longer, but truth be told, it was only 6 months. Real, raw, and vulnerable, right? Disclaimer, I am about to get extremely vulnerable. A lot of y'all don't know, but when I moved from Houston to Atlanta, right, I already had some crazy situations going on. My life was kind of already hectic. I was in Houston by myself. As y'all know, I had just ended my relationship. It was just me and Callie in Houston. I didn't have any family. I was honestly just, you know, figuring it out as a single young adult by my lonesome. It was crazy having a daughter, being out of state with no family, no friends, for real. Like, you really can't trust people. I was getting into stuff, having money problems, trying to figure it out, to jumping in the bottle service because I needed to make money because I was on my own now and I got Callie. So it was like so much more pressure on myself. It was so much more pressure on me than previously because now I'm doing it solo dolo. I just kind of got over Houston. I was like, you know what? I don't really know. I'm on the phone with my friend and she's like, girl, if you don't just come to Atlanta, like, come here. Like, these are my influencer friends. Because as y'all, if y'all follow me, y'all know I moved to Atlanta. I got out of bottle service and I got more into influencing and creating content and working with brands and, you know, just the lifestyle that Atlanta comes with. But what they don't talk about is it's not just show up and do it. Like anything in life, you have to give something in exchange. It's never like it's always a cost. You get what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't really talk about that. And I think that's where me and Atlanta truly disagreed, because I wasn't willing to pay the cost that was due to survive or make it in Atlanta. I was cool off of that. What many people did not know, and this is the vulnerable part that I hindered and kept private in my previous season of doing YouTube, but I am now trying to open up for y'all for real. I was in a relationship, and one of the main factors, it wasn't the only factor, but it was a driving factor that led me to move to Atlanta, was for the guy I was dating. And it was like the thing that swayed me to the yes instead of a no. You get what I'm saying? It was like there were a lot of other benefits to moving to Atlanta. I had way more friends. I was closer to home, which means that Callie would have been able to see her dad more. I would have been able to visit my family more, because I hardly was going to visit back home, due to the fact that tickets from Houston to Indy were like $400 to $500 flights. And with me and Callie, I just was not willing to pay the cost for that either. So moving to Atlanta had tons of perks, and then it's like the cherry on top was the guy I'm dating is out here too. So I might as well leave Houston. You get what I'm saying? The money was good, but I had no company, I had no help, and those were like my driving factors of making that jump. When you walk into anything, before you make a decision, right, you always lay out an expectation. I had this expectation in my head of what I expected Atlanta to be, right? The number one lesson that I learned moving from Houston to Atlanta was the grass is not always greener on the other side. That's the number one lesson that I always comes back to me when I think back to that, making that decision, is I just was complaining about where I was at, thinking that there was something better on the other end, not knowing that I was really signing myself up for so much worse. If only we could see ahead, right? Because if we could see ahead, we would avoid a lot of things, but we can't. That's the sad part. Like, once you make a decision, you are in that route, and until you don't know it's the wrong route until you bump into the thing that indicates, hey, this was not the right way for you to go, or this was not the right decision for you to make. But ultimately, once you hit your head into the signal that this is the wrong route, it's too late. You know, you're pretty much too deep in to just turn back and go the other way. It's like you're already pretty much grounded into whatever decision you made. So, boom, I'm in it. I made the decision. Here I am, thinking that Atlanta was gonna be better than Houston for me. Like, now don't get me wrong, I have a lot of people in Atlanta that are thriving, living, and you know what I mean, they enjoy it. For me personally, I always stated, once I got like my feet planted in Atlanta, that it really contradicts my morals, my principle, and my beliefs. Even though I wasn't even as, you know, where I'm at now. I wasn't there, right? Because this is like a year and a half ago at this point. I was not where I am now, and it's still contradicted with my beliefs, even being shallow. You get what I'm saying? Like, but my principle and my characters were pretty much grounded in me. At that point, I was like 24. So who I was pretty, you know, solid in what I'm comfortable with doing and what I'm not comfortable with. Like, that was pretty much set in place. Like, you have to live and want a certain kind of lifestyle to make it out there. Like, for me, I found myself more depressed in it than I was going in. Like I thought it was bad before until I met worse. Like, hello, I'm worse. You thought that was bad. Well, you thought what you were doing was bad and how you were living was bad. So crazy, y'all. I walked away from so much. I literally made that left turn instead of that right turn. When I hit that crossroad, I literally went the wrong way. But even with that, everything is accounted for, right? Because God sees every decision that we make before we make it. So sometimes you just gotta bump your head to learn. Sometimes we don't learn from advice, wisdom, or just taking heed. And sometimes people don't even have the wisdom in their life to take heed to. Sometimes when you're that person in your family and you're actually creating the blueprint, there are not a lot of things to take heed to. You kind of learn as you go. As you bump your head, you're creating the blueprint to give the wisdom for the people that are coming after you. So like now, the times that because I did things that nobody in my family had done, there was nobody to tell me what I should and shouldn't do, what decisions I should and shouldn't make. It was kind of like I reached the cap of their experiences, and we really can't give advice on things we have not experienced. So I didn't really have too many people around me to help me make wise and good choices. But now, as I've bumped my head, as y'all know, I have my baby girl, so I will be able to share that with her, and hopefully she takes heed to the things that I already bumped my head on, so she doesn't have to bump her head on the same thing. And I will have better wisdom to share with my daughter to give her good advice to have good judgment. I'm venturing off, but y'all know how I do. It's literally 10:42 right now, and I'm literally recording this video for y'all because let's just get the ball rolling. Like, what's the hold up? FYI, I'm probably really like deflecting because I honestly don't want to talk about. So where was I at? Y'all, I thought stuff was about to be amazing. I mean, you couldn't tell me that I wasn't about to finally walk into the life that I deserve. I wasn't going to be blown up on YouTube. I wasn't going to be blown up on Instagram. I wasn't about to be walking into the life of I made it. You get what I'm saying? Like everything that I wanted, you couldn't tell me that Atlanta wasn't the gateway to that. Because in that time, I truly believed that making that decision was about to lead me to the life that I truly desired at that time to have. But I mean, when I tell you, you don't hit that brick wall until you're too deep in to turn back, that I hit that brick wall, right? One thing led to another, and then another thing led to another, and then another thing led to another, and then you find yourself too deep to get yourself out. So what really happened in Atlanta? What really happened in Atlanta? Like, let's really talk about it. I got there. I started meeting people. I started going out. I mean, my friends, I gained a lot of friends in the influencer lane. Shout out to Cleo because that's my girl. I ain't gonna lie. That's literally, it's like my sister. Like, she literally opened her door. She was the one that was on the phone like, girl, if you don't get out of Houston, if you're tired of being there, come here. Like, you and Callie are more than welcome. She literally had a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. And yeah, she let me and Callie come. And the rest was history. So this is where I went wrong. What really happened was I got down there and was supposed to be doing one thing, and I ended up getting so distracted and sidetracked. And I'm not gonna lie and say that Atlanta didn't have potential to make me, allow me to become who it is that I was gonna become, and I just didn't take advantage of it. I can't lie and say that I didn't take advantage of the opportunities that were in front of me, because I definitely had a ton of them, but I was so caught up and hung up on a guy that I literally invested so much of myself into him and the relationship instead of investing it into myself. And that is time I can literally never get back. Like, once you do whatever you're going to do and make whatever decision you're going to make, you have to live with that. Like, you can't get that time back. You can probably make up for it. You can catch up. You get what I'm saying? You can do what you're supposed to do now, but that doesn't change the fact that you could have did it then, and you could have been long past the point of where you are if you had took advantage of the opportunity in front of you and been responsible and productive and focused. You get what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie, I have reached my lowest point in Atlanta. Like, I was more depressed than I ever been in my life. I thought I had it bad prior to that until, like I said, I met worse, and that's when the wake-up call came. Like, dang, you walked away from that to walk into this? You walked away from so much thinking that was bad, but here you are dealing with and entertaining, and I was in a cycle. I literally was in a cycle and couldn't break it. I just remember all of my friends, to the point where my reputation and my friends and my friendship, I became the friend that is like, we're not even gonna tell her anything anymore. Not like, they're not gonna tell me what to do when it came to my situation, because I became the friend that never listened. Like, I always went back. I always dealt with it. It always got worse, and I always had to call on a friend to come and help me because I kept placing myself back in the same situation. I don't even understand what was going on with me, but I literally, it's just a part of the journey, but I literally was tripping. I ain't gonna cap. I don't know what was going on, but I was really bugging. But that phase in my life has literally, like, that's literally one of the monumental seasons of my life that has led me and got me so passionately and diligently standing in where I am today. Because, I mean, sometimes you bump your head and you ain't gotta bump it no more. Like, that's where I was at. Like, dang, as y'all know, I was like in a 10-year relationship. I was with my high school sweetheart. I was with Callie's dad. And like, I always lived a certain kind of life to where I was out of the mix. And it was a certain kind of lifestyle I just never engaged in. Again, because of my principles and my morals, it was certain things that I never did, certain things you never caught me doing or saying or acting like, just because of the way I was raised. Like, the things that were instilled in me as a child prevented me from doing so many things that we see a lot of women doing today. I'm not gonna lie, what you put in your kid at a young age really has so much weight, because if it wasn't for those moments, I'm sure I would have, if it wasn't for the things that my mom planted in me when I was young, like reminding me that I'm special, reminding me of what not to be like, like just putting me on game at such a young age, that if I didn't have that, I'm sure I would have turned out like your average Joe when it came to a woman. You get what I'm saying? Like, your upbringing really is what you fall back on when you reach a certain point in your life, that when things are so new around you, you're gonna turn to what you know. When it gets too unfamiliar, you're gonna turn to what's familiar. And that is like what I ended up doing. The relationship, honestly, it became such a huge distraction that it completely took me off of the focus of what I should have really been doing and what I really should have been focused on. Like I said, I met so many people. I was in so many rooms. I had so many opportunities, but it was always, I'm the friend in the club that's every occasion has, you get what I'm saying? Because I don't want to, spend too much time dwelling on a specific person, but at the end of the day, it has such a huge impact on my life that when I say vulnerable, I'm real life, not sugarcoating and acting like stuff wasn't what it really was. Like, at the end of the day, it had a huge impact on my life. Was it positive? Absolutely not. But do I have a positive outtake on it? Absolutely, because like I said, if it wasn't for those things, was just one of those things you have to learn to know. I have never seen the bad side of what a relationship can be like. Like, I had never seen the ugly side of love. Dating somebody else with a totally different personality, it was like, you never really know something exists until you experience it. And I feel like that's really what it was. One of the leading things is I went into Atlanta with bad intentions. Not to say they were the worst intentions, but for me, as the type of woman and mother and, you know what I mean, everything else, my reputation, it didn't match up with the motives and intentions that I had when I went there. Like, I was trying to have fun. I just felt like I missed out on so much that it was time for me to live. Like, I hadn't been to no bars, I hadn't went to no clubs. You get what I'm saying? Like, I hadn't did anything. It was almost like the good girl turned bad, because it was like, now is my time for me to enjoy myself, and that's what I wanted to do. And it ended up turning to one of the biggest regrets that I honestly had, just because of the fact that I can't get that time back. And I know if I hadn't have went in with the wrong motives, then my outcome and my results would have been totally different than what it was. But I don't like to dwell like I regret, because I don't, because it led me here. But this is just, my truth and my take on what happened in Atlanta. I mean, we were meeting everybody, like, well, my friends already knew, but they were introducing me. And I just remember one of the main things everybody used to say when I came around was like, who are you? Like, people literally used to ask me that. Who are you and where did you come from? Because why have I never met you? Why have I never heard of you? Why have I never saw you? Like, it's just crazy how a new face can gravitate so much attention just because of a new face and your personality and your demeanor. It's almost like these people knew that you're supposed to be somebody. What is going on? I'm looking at your page and what is going on? I'm looking at you in real life and what is going on? Your personality is dope. Why are you not? You know what I mean? Why are you not blown up? Why are you not? It's not making sense. Honestly, to answer the question now is just because that's not what God had for me. Like, he truly had different results for me in my life and what was to come. Y'all, I spent so much time doing the wrong thing out there. I mean, talk about the fighting, the arguing, the crying in the club. I was that girl. The crying in the club, the finding out this, girls DMing me, trying to argue with me on Instagram. I mean, just finding stuff out left and right. Broken phones. My phone literally got broke like probably 10 times 5 to be more accurate, but it's still, that's very significant. In a 6-month span, I was only in Atlanta for 6 months, and oh my gosh, I ended up reaching a point of, like, I literally couldn't get out of bed. Like I said, I was staying with Cleo, but I was hardly there. Like, most of the time it was just my things were there and I would just pack a bag and go. But I was never hardly there. And I feel like, she started to feel like, girl, Tamisha, you're not, I really want better for you and I wish you could like snap out of it, but there's only so much people can do. There's only so much people can help you when you don't want to help yourself. You get what I'm saying? So after spending so long of doing the wrong things, focus on the wrong things, I lost drive. I lost motivation. I lost so much within myself. I became super insecure. I mean super insecure, because you talk about dealing with someone who, oh Lord, you talk about dealing with something and just so many things that make you question your value and your worth, that it made me become so timid and just oh my gosh, I went into a really dark place to the point where I could not even make eye contact with people. I didn't want to go out. I was super subconscious every time I got dressed, every time I put something on. Even if I look back at this stuff today and feel like it was so cute, in that moment, I was so insecure. I was not comfortable with who I was, what I was doing, where I was at. Like, I literally, if you could picture my outer shell, but my spirit inside, my spirit literally like tucked and rolled up all the way to the bottom of my toes. Like, it was literally in a deep, dark shell. To the point where after feeling like that at so many events and around so many people, I just stopped going. Like, I stopped getting dressed. I stopped getting up. I stopped leaving the house. I stopped doing my hair. I even stopped. It would be some days where I wouldn't even shower and I wouldn't even brush my teeth. Like, I would just sit in the house depressed, literally, like so deep that nobody could help me out. Nobody could say anything. Like, it was absolutely not one piece of advice that actually stuck with me and made me want to be better than where I was at. It was absolutely nothing. Like, I was stuck and I was just accepting worse and dealing with worse, and you know what I mean? And it just got super bad for me. And I honestly, I think back to it now and I understand why I block out so much of it, because it was just such an ugly, unfamiliar, uncomfortable, insecure time in my life that I never experienced. You get what I'm saying? But I don't ever have to I don't have to go through it again to understand the lesson. Like, I got it the first time. It took a while, and like I said, I was only there for 6 months, and I would say each month got worse. It started off crazy. Like, it started off crazy, but it just like got worse. I'm losing my train of thought, but no advice that anybody could give was helping me or making me feel better or reminding me of who I was. I mean, at that point, I just felt ashamed to even go around my friends. Like, I stopped even coming around them. I stopped answering the phone, because eventually you keep saying you're done with somebody and you keep saying that you're doing this and that, and then you over there, you have that guilt and that shame that you start avoiding. You get what I'm saying? So I started avoiding people. I started staying to myself and just going through what I was going through in the dark by myself at that point, because I got tired of being the broken record. Like, I got tired of telling people that I'm gonna do one thing or I'm gonna listen or I'm gonna do. And I was drinking very heavily because my friends were we always hosted events, so we were always out. Literally, we were out. It was literally multiple things to do in a week. We're always out. We're always getting drunk. And that right there is also the thing that also led me to continuously revert back to the same behavior that I just said I wasn't going to do anymore. As soon as that liquor hit, it was like everything went out the window. I just want to feel good at this point. Like, I'm going to go to what I know. So I kept leaning back on the bad things. I mean, I let so many things and people slip by me, because now I don't even have the confidence to talk to these people and look them in their eyes and tell them who I am or what I do and believe it. I don't even believe it. I didn't even believe it for myself at that point. So it was nothing for me to say to anybody, because I didn't even believe it for myself. Like, I just had got so low, and it just kept intensifying. Every single situation intensified and got worse. And at that moment, I knew I had I came the wrong way. My life done did a whole 180. Like, I walked away from living in my apartment, my own apartment, a high rise, on my first apartment by myself with my daughter, to making good money. I had got my car. Like, I walked away from all of that and walked myself, literally, because of a decision that I made. I walked myself into a completely different life. Like I tore down my own life based on bad judgment.